In other words, it is as if he, Paul, first gambled on those things to be his secure status. Here's a guy that, like I was saying, like the Hebrew Roots movement, they're gambling on their right standing before God by observing feasts of the Lord. They're gambling on observing the seventh-day Sabbath in the Seventh-day Adventists. This is a gamble. They're taking hope that what they are doing is pleasing enough to God to get them to heaven. Okay? I'm sorry, the gamble will not pay off. And Paul was saying that's exactly what I was doing. Okay? He gambled on those things to be secure in his status and then found out the bet was a loser. They weren't a sure bet or even a break-even one. Instead, they were a losing bet and a source of loss. Once again, I talked about him last week a little bit. Same thing. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. The Pharisee that went in before the temple and said, "Oh God, I thank you that I'm not like this guy, and I tithe every week, and I do this, and I do that, and I fast, and I'm super duper." And the guy, the tax collector, is down there beating on his breast, and he wouldn't even raise his head. And he says, "Lord, I'm a sinner. I'm so sorry." And Jesus said, this man, rather than that, went home justified before God. Paul was that guy. He's that guy. I'm a Pharisee. I'm this and I'm that. I'm so great. And look I'm gambling on earning heaven. And you can't earn heaven. It comes right back to what we talked about in that daily, this day in Christian history. You cannot earn grace. If you say, I've got to do something, it's so frustrating to hear somebody say, "Oh yeah, you were saved, but you can lose your salvation." Because if you can lose your salvation, it was never of grace, ever. Charlie Garrett gets saved when he's 27 years old, and he becomes a preacher, and he's a great guy. And at 32 years old, he kills somebody. You lost your salvation. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way, because if that is true, then my salvation was never based on grace through faith. It doesn't matter at what point, from the moment you're saved until the moment that you die, it doesn't matter what point. If you can lose what God has promised you, then it was not of grace at all. It was always of works, because I had to work in order to keep my salvation. It is the